Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last Saturday morning Zoom of November. I'm sure I say this every single week, but I'm absolutely floored that we are at the end of November and heading into December, and we're seeing Christmas decorations and hearing the Christmas music on the radio and everything else. So definitely, we are heading into that season, and anything we can do to spread some joy and celebrate everything that we have to celebrate, I am all for. In our family, my son's birthday is November 25th, so we usually wait until after his birthday to start celebrating Christmas. But his birthday was last Wednesday, and we are good to get going. So today we are going to make a little treat box that will hold Hershey's Kisses. And when I say treat box, that's kind of a loose interpretation. It's not going to have a lid. It's going to be open to front and back. But you could even tie a ribbon and hang it as an ornament. And this would make amazing little gifts for your mailman or your courier, or just random acts of kindness. These are going to be really easy to make and put together. And like a lot of the things I show you, I think it's one of those things that once you get making them, once you've figured out the tricks, you're going to get hooked and you're going to want to make lots of them. So I asked you to have 2 strips of paper cut. Because we're doing a Christmas tree, I've asked for green. If you want to do a prototype with other colors, and just till you get the swing of things, that's absolutely no problem. I will warn you though, you will see the other side. So make sure you like what's on the other side as well. You won't see a lot of it, but you will see some of it. So you want to make sure that it's equally pretty on both sides. I'm going to get some water here before I dive into the next step. There we go. So one of your pieces is 2 inches by 9 3/4. If you haven't cut it already, now's the time to cut it. 2 inches wide by 9 3/4. Your second piece is 2 inches wide by 11. Now we are going to be doing some more cuts with this piece in a few minutes, so don't leave your trimmer too far away. Keep it close. But for right now, we're going to start with the 9 3/4 piece. And this is going to build our shell, if you will, or our foundation. So the next thing you're going to need is your scoreboard. I got my scoreboard right here. And you're going to put your paper in horizontally. Now, I think I forgot to do my usual spiel off the beginning. If I am going too fast, please do not hesitate to unmute and just ask me to go over something or ask me to slow down. But we're going to go through this, and then you can always go back and watch the replay afterwards if you need the measurements again and whatnot. So this is our strip that is 2 by 9 3/4. I'm going to score it at 3 inches. As always with scoring, you're better off to be a little bit light and do it a couple of times as opposed to pushing too hard and pushing through your paper. So that was at 3 inches. Your second score line is at 6 1/8. So it's that little mark. See if I can get close enough. That's between 6 and 6 1/4. So you're halfway between 6 and 6 1/4 at 6 1/8. Oops, I pushed too hard. So you got to go gentle. And then your last score line is at 9 1/4. 9 1/4. So to go over that again, it's 3 inches, 6 1/8, 9 1/4. And what that will do is that will create 3 little panels that are all the same. And you'll have this little extra panel at the end that we're going to use to attach it together. But we're not quite done yet. Because this is going to hold Hershey's Kisses, we want to make sure that it is nice and strong and sturdy. So we're going to tuck it in the corner here, vertically this time. Let me move up a little bit. And we're going to score at 1 inch. That way we can fold this piece in half. Now, it really doesn't matter which order you do these score lines in. If you want to do your vertical first and then do your horizontal, not a problem. But what we're going to do is we're going to just fold this in half this way. And we're going to glue it together. And then that way it makes our foundation nice and strong. So let's move this off to the side. I'm just going to use some score tape just because score tape is nice and strong. And I'm just going to go right down the outside. If you've got liquid adhesive, that's fine as well. And I'm going to go right along the fold just to make sure it sticks nice. The hardest part is getting the backing up. Come on. Ta-da! There's one. And there's two. Fold it over. So in this case, you do have green on both sides. It's the inner pieces where you're going to see both patterns. So now you have a nice, strong, double thick strip that we are going to fold along those score lines. And what's going to hold it all together is this little tab is going to attach like so. And you do when we got it fully assembled, you want it in that bottom right corner. So once again, I'm just going to put a little bit of score tape just on that little section, holding it all together. Let's do 1. And 2, just to make sure it stays, because nothing worse than creating this beautiful little ornament to give to someone and it falls apart. So I am wrapping it around and I am putting my tab on the outside. You could easily put it on the inside as well. It's not going to affect the mechanism, but I just want it on the outside to make it easy. So now we've got this cute little triangle. Your tab is here in the bottom right corner. We're going to set this aside for right now. Hope everyone's with me. If you want to give me a thumbs up, those of you who I can see, lots of thumbs up. That's fantastic. All right. Now we're going to take our 2-inch by 11-inch piece. And once again, we're going to do our scoring first. We're going to grab our scoreboard and we're going to put it in horizontal. This time we are going to score at every inch mark along the way. So at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, all the way to the end. Nice and gentle, just enough to help bend the fibers of your paper and give you a nice straight line. But you don't need to punch right through the paper. All right, so I've scored all the way from 1 inch to 10 inch, and you can see that all the way along my paper. And we're doing it now just because it's going to be a step saver, if you will, because our next step is we are going to cut this piece in half vertically. But this way you just have to do the scores once. You don't have to do it to both pieces that you have left over. So switch to your paper trimmer. And we're going to trim this in half at 1 inch. So you're going to end up with 2 strips now that are 1 inch by 11, and they're each scored every inch along the way. Two strips here. One strip just set aside. The other strip, you're going to turn it horizontal, and we're going to cut this into 2 strips. So you want to cut it at the 4-inch mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4 squares in. We're going to trim that down as well. And that's it for our cutting. So you have a 4 by 1 inch strip. You have a 7 by 1 inch strip. And you have an 11 by 1 inch strip. And what these guys are going to do is they're going to build little compartments within your tree to hold your Hershey's Kisses and keep them from falling out. So let's start with the longest one, because we're going to start at the bottom and build our way to the top. So now we want to fold along our score lines, making little triangles. So so start with this one here. So fold in, fold up, fold across. It's not just trying to figure out, is there a pattern to it? So in, out, in. And when I say in, I mean inside towards the nice side, or the green side versus not the green side. So when you're done, you're going to have these little, almost looks like on a castle, you know, on the turrets of a castle, where you've got that little, or jack-o'-lantern mouth. I'm trying to find a way to describe it. But you want it to look like this. This is going to scooch inside like this. And I know sometimes with me, it's easier to kind of see what the end result is. So you see, we're making these little triangles, and the Hershey's Kisses are going to pop right inside. So I do want it to have a good stick, but I also want wiggle room to be able to get this exactly where I want it. So I am going to use liquid glue today, because that gives me a little bit of room to slide. It also will allow me, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my 2 side pieces down first, and then just squirt some glue in underneath to set it down. So if you want to watch first, make sure that this works. And then you can go ahead and glue yours as well. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this end and on this end. And so remember my little tabs in the bottom right-hand corner. Squish it all in. And get it right into that bottom corner. The glue I'm using today is the Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium. For doing little projects and little things like this, this is probably my favorite liquid glue because it does dry matte and clear. It also shrinks. So if we get it oozing out the edges, when it dries, we're not going to see it at all. And because I think I'm going to get messy sticking these bottom pieces down, I need that little bit of extra play. Okay, so now I've got my strip attached on my two sides. I now need to stick down these bottom pieces. It is going to look a little bit wonky until we get all three levels in and get the Hershey's Kisses in. The weight of the kisses will help to keep this in place as well. So I'm going to take my glue, just squirt a little bit in there, and stick down that left-hand side. Just hold it for a second till it grabs. I've got some oozing, so I'm just going to wipe it, even though I know we won't see it in the end. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I always like to do the sides first and then fudge the middle to get it to work. All right, so just squeeze some glue in there, stick it down. All right. So now I have my two outside edges done. I just need to stick this middle section down. And it's all going to work out perfectly. Those little triangles, the upside down triangles, again, they may not look perfectly flat to start, but once we get the other layers in, I promise you it's all going to work out. Okay, there's layer number one. Again, don't worry about these being wiggly. They will even themselves out. We're going to do the same thing for level number two using the next longest strip. So this one was 7 inches by 1 inch. Excuse me, 1 second. Haven't had my morning coffee yet, so my voice is a little craggedy. All right, so let's fold along our score lines. So in, out, out, in. So this jack-o'-lantern only has 2 teeth. And once again, when we squish it all together, it's going to make these little triangle compartments. Let me move this out of the way. That's going to tuck in now on our next layer. So let's glue it again. I'm going to do one side at a time this time. All right, so you want this triangle here to butt up against this triangle here. Like so. Sorry, I'm off center there. Oops. And the same thing with this side over here. And you can push down a little bit on that center one and make sure you've got it in the right spot, like so. For right now, actually, no, let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and glue this triangle to this triangle and this one to this one, just so we start getting our foundation flat. You may have a little tiny gap in the middle here. Again, don't worry about it. Once it starts getting pushed down, it's all going to come together. Okay. And then our last one is just this one little triangle or one little piece here. And you're going to fold all 4 of those in to make a triangle. And this is just, I mean, you could leave it just like this and just stick your Hershey's Kiss in the top, but this gives it a little bit more stability and helps to push that middle layer into place. So we're just going to make a little triangle out of this last piece. Glue it together. And then this is going to pop in like so. So I haven't glued it yet. Let me pop it back out. Little bit of glue all the way around. Because I was doing that slidey bit, I'm really glad that I've used this glue. That's not going to show. And that's it. That's our basic foundation for our Hershey's Kiss Christmas tree. Now the place on Pinterest that I found this, they also made a little brown rectangle to make a base for the Christmas tree. I didn't really feel like it needed it. I like it just like this. And then this is where we can take some ribbon. What have I got in my ribbon stash here? Ooh, I see something cute. I've got this red, almost candy cane-like ribbon that I can just put around the outside. And you can tie it in a bow or create a loop if you want to make it an ornament. I'm going to use some sticky specs. Let me get the right length first. So about there. Love my sticky specs. Love, love, love my sticky specs for attaching ribbon. Because it's just going to get everywhere it needs to go. Just make sure you get it on the same side. Move it over a bit. And then I can just start at the top and wrap my ribbon, and it's all nice and stuck. If I need to lift it up a little bit before I give it a rub down, I can. Yeah, there we go. And I can get my little bow maker out and make a little bow for the top if I don't lose my pegs. So let's do it that way. See if I can remember to wrap around. Under and through. If you are making lots of bows this holiday season, you definitely need a bow maker. So I've just looped it under and around. Through the hole. Come on, fingers. Like so. There's my bow. Snug it tight. And I can glue that on the top of my tree. So I bet you want to see it with Hershey's Kisses in it. Let's do that. Let's crack open these new flavor sugar cookie Hershey's Kisses. And you can see that they just fit nice and snug inside each of these little compartments. Depending on the tin foil, you may need to fudge it a little bit. There we go. One for here. All right, 2 more to squeeze in. Find it's easier to get the point in first. So this guy's not cooperating. There he goes. And it does get a little snug, but that's good because you know that they're not going to fall out.
That's awesome, Sheri.
Yeah,
I like that.
super cute. And I mean, if you wanted to add some extra protection and put it in a little cellophane bag, you can do that, or you can deliver it just like this.
Awesome.
So that's it for me today, ladies. Don't forget, we still have our Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday deals going on online. To thank you for your support today, we're going to be, I've got 25 little gift goodies that I'm going to throw into some orders just kind of randomly from yesterday as well as from today, because you guys have been so supportive and we really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let me stop the recording and then we can ask any questions.
Thanks, Sheri.